Hey friend, welcome to Milk and Honey with Lemon. The Bible says in Numbers 14:8, and if the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into that land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. On this podcast, we talk about stepping into that overflow that God has for us by becoming those ultimate Proverbs 31 women. Hey, I'm Lemon. I am just like you, sister friend. I knew God had something more in store for me, but I couldn't see a way out of the laundry piles. And frankly, I resented that Proverbs 31 woman. How was I going to live up to the hype? That is until I found out how to really step into becoming this Proverbs 31 woman through leadership development. In this podcast, you're going to find financial freedom, leadership growth, and motivation so you'll be able to do all the things God has called you to do with ease and really step into that land of milk and honey. Welcome back to the Milk and Honey podcast. I'm your host, Lemon Price, and today I'm really excited because this is a topic I am deeply passionate about. It is on purpose. I get asked all the time from women that I work with, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? I'm not sure what I'm called to do. So much of that I actually created a course last year, ran it live. Now it lives inside of Kingdom Alliance. So if you want to check that out, you can actually check it out for free in the show notes or just go lemonprice.co/sneak peek and you can check out my Finding Your Purpose course. So I love that course. I deeply love it. Again, I hear this all the time from people. They say, I don't understand what my calling is. I don't understand what my purpose is. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what the next right move is. I don't know. And I just wrapped up a 3-day event in my Facebook group to just talking about purpose and understanding what it is that we are supposed to do. And so what I want to say first and foremost is we all actually have the same purpose. Every single one of us, you, me, we have the same purpose. Our purpose is from Jesus, and it is to love God and to love other people, right? So love God, all our heart, mind, soul. That's the first thing. That is our very first purpose, is to love God. Our second purpose is to love others. Jesus says that people will know you're my disciples by how you love others. And so we are meant to love other people. And then we are to go out and create disciples. So I also taught a course on this. It lives inside of Kingdom Alliance that you can check out. It's called Mamas in the Word. And it is, again, designed to help you go out and create disciples and to be a disciple. I love it. It was one of my favorites that I've ever put together. Where I think people get confused is they conflate their purpose with how they are supposed to fulfill their purpose. So your purpose is to love God, to love other people, and to create disciples. How you are going to do that is different than you and I. So I'm actually going to give you today my little steps on how to actually figure out what your purpose is. So get out a pen and paper, put me on pause if you need to, but come back and finish it because Apple gets really upset when people don't finish the podcast episode. So put me on pause, go get a piece of paper or take out your phone and put it in the notes section. What you're going to do first is you're going to write passions at the top of your paper in your note section, whatever it is. And I want you to write down 5, 10, 20, a million things that you're passionate about. What excites you? What lights up your life is something you get excited talking about. So for me, women in leadership, for sure, especially through a biblical lens. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about making your own medicine because I just think Western medicine as a whole is more sick care than it is healthcare. So I'm deeply passionate about that. I'm passionate about our food supply. I just had a friend, she asked me one question on food and we ended up in a 45-minute conversation talking about agrochemicals and responsibility for healthy food and all of those things. It was a deep conversation. I love the ocean. I'm really passionate about taking care of the ocean and the creatures that live in the ocean, especially turtles. I wrote my master's thesis on sea turtle conservation. So things I'm deeply passionate about. I'm really passionate about supporting women through pregnancy and through life beyond pregnancy. What does that look like when you have a 10-year-old and something happens? What does it look like when you lose your job and you have a 12-year-old at home? Like, where are we to support you on that? All things I'm deeply passionate about. Okay, so write those down. What are you deeply passionate about? Next, I want you to write what I'm good at the top of your paper in your phone. What are you naturally gifted at? I have always been a talker. I know that it's going to shock you that I have a podcast. Every single report card I had growing up said talks too much. Thank you so much. Almost want to send this podcast to every single elementary school teacher I ever had who told me I talk too much, because now I do it for a living. So thank you for the lack of encouragement. But not that podcasting existed when I was in elementary school, so that's okay. But what are you naturally good at? What comes easy to you? Like social media comes easy to me. Tech things come easy for me. I used to be the CMO of a tech company. Tech is easy for me. I grew up in tech. Like that just comes naturally for me. That is just not their natural skill set. So what are you naturally good at? What is so simple? And then they're going to make another little list. What have others affirmed in you? And what has, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What have others affirmed in you, and what life experiences do you have that you also care about? So what do people come to you for? And they're like, wow, Susie, you are so good at blah, blah, blah. Or can I get your advice on marriage? Like maybe you just have a ton of people coming to you who want to talk about marriage. Write that down. What do people come to you for? And what life experiences have you overcome or have you walked through that would give you some unique perspective? Okay. And then finally, I know I hope that you're not just listening to this straight through, or if you do, listen to me straight through and then go back and do this work and listen to it again. So finally, what you're going to do is you're going to take a spiritual gift test. If you already know what that is, I always recommend taking one anyway, especially every year or so. See if maybe you've developed something a little bit more than another skill. Here's what I want to say. Do not take this as gospel. I'm linking to it in the show notes for you. It's just like spiritualgiftstest.com or something like that. I don't have the URL in front of me when I'm recording this, but it will be in the show notes for you. Do not take it as gospel. What I want you to do is look at that list and ask God, is this true of me? Is this what you see my gift as? And write that down too. So I want you to go through. So you're going to write down, what are you passionate about? What are you naturally good at? What have others affirmed in you? And where are you spiritually gifted? That is such an insanely unique combination. Even me just rattling off the things that I'm passionate about and naturally skilled in, you were like, those are not on my list at all. Not at all. You and I, again, while we may have the same purpose, our purpose is to love God, love others, and create disciples. That is our purpose. The way we are going to fulfill that purpose is different. And you might have been listening to my list just now and been like, I have none of those things in common. Like none of that is me. And that's okay. What you're going to do with this list, you're going to look at this list and look for a common thread. Where can you show up and serve? How can you support people? Maybe you're really talented at tech, but you're really passionate about food insecurity. Could you have a business that supports people in tech, but then also fuels food insecurity ministries? Could you come up with some sort of solution that helps people who are food insecure? Maybe there's a system that needs to be developed or a better way to track and manage and support people. And who knows? I don't know. That's not my calling. What I'm saying is look at the list. I want you to look at the list and be like, okay, God, I see a common thread here. You are never going to get plan A to Z. God's never going to say, okay, Susie, your purpose is actually, or your calling is you're going to do this. And here's every single step you're going to have to take. And here's what it's going to look like at the end. God is not going to give you that. What God is going to look for is, hey, can you take the next step? Can you take the next best step? Can you take one more step? Can you push yourself outside of a comfort zone? That's what he's looking for. Okay, great. Susie just took the next step. Now I can reveal a little bit more. And each time you're in a different place and you're seeing more clearly what your calling is. And it's okay if that calling shifts. And if your perspective shifts, like that should happen. That is called growth. So be okay with that. Know that every single step that you take, God is going to use for his ultimate purpose for your life, for the calling he has on your life. So I want you to sit with that this week. What is it that you're naturally good at? What is it that you have experience in? What have others affirmed in you? Where are you spiritually gifted? What are you passionate about? Write those down, find the through line, and then ask God what to do with it. God, hey, I have these things. I'm feeling like I'm leaning in a direction now based on what I see from this paper about who you created me to be, who you designed me to be. Ask him, James 1:5. I love this verse. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and he will give to all men liberally and upbraideth not, right? So he's going to give to you. Basically, if you ask, if you knock, he's going to open the door. That's what he's saying. If you want to know what your next move is, you can ask and he will tell you. He says he gives to all liberally. It means he's not going to withhold from you, but he's going to tell you what to do next. And so take this information, take it to the Lord and be like, what am I supposed to do with this? What is the next best step for me? Do I need to grow in an area to accomplish this thing? Do I need to become a certified speaker? Do I need to start a podcast? Do I need to serve in a certain ministry? Is there somebody I need to call? Like, ask the Lord what your next best step is. And then after you achieve that, ask him what the next best step is. And then the next best step. And keep going in that direction. And you'll see his plans and his purpose unravel before your very eyes. So that's my encouragement this week for you, is to go and really spend time figuring out what it is that he has called you to do. Because you know what your purpose is: to love him, to love others, and go and create disciples. And how you're going to do that is going to look very differently than how I do that. People you're called to serve are probably different than me. The way you're called to, even if we're called to serve the exact same group of people, we both feel called to serve. But your skill set is that you're really fantastic at making blankets. And my skill set is that I am really good at making ice blocks. We can serve the same group of people in two very different ways. We could both be called to podcast, but we're called to serve different people. And we're going to talk about different things and we're going to do it differently. And that's okay. You don't have to look like me and I don't have to look like you, and you don't have to look like your neighbor or your ministry leader or a person on TV. Like, you don't have to look like that because you were not designed that way. You have your own gifts, your own talents, your own passions, your own life experience. And all of those things. Romans 8:28 says that God will use all things for his purpose. It's so that you can serve the way that you are meant to serve, and serve the group of people that you are meant to serve in a way that only you can do it. And so lean in. Lean in and ask. Ask God, what do you want me to do? What's my next step? What's the connection here? Because I promise he's going to give it to you. He'll tell you exactly what to do with it. He's going to show you the way. I promise. So take this week to sit and really think about that. Think about who it is he's called you to be and how he's called you to show up. And then do it boldly. Take radical obedient action and go after the thing he has called you to do. So I love you, friends. I will see you next week with a super fun interview. I think you're going to love it, and I will see you then. Bye, friends. Hey, friend, what a joy it has been to share today's journey with you. If you found a spark of inspiration or a nugget of wisdom that resonated, would you bless someone else by sharing this episode with them? It could be the encouragement they need to step into their purpose and calling. Also, if you could spare a moment to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I really appreciate your feedback, and it really helps our community grow. Remember, the road to discovering God's call for you isn't one you have to walk alone. So join me again next Monday for another episode where we'll continue to explore the depths of leadership and the heights of our heavenly calling. Until then, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep trusting in his plan. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, friend.